Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Jake with Myers Flies, and today we're going to be tying crystal meth. This is the legal kind, by the way. The crystal meth pattern. It's like an egg cluster. It looks like little eggs just kind of sitting around up there. Little. I usually use red thread because of the blood dots that are in fish eggs. So we use these primarily on these hooks here. These are the Daiichi, the X510 steelhead hooks. Super strong. We use them for the salmon runs. The big brown trout that are coming out of the lake. And here's another color. That's the pink. We use the pink color. I put the material list there for you on the beginning, but this dyed pearl diamond braid is some good stuff from Hairline. Today, I'm going to be tying this in the two-tone. So I tie some that are orange. I mean, you can tie them in, tons of different colors, but I've got the orange and the pink, and then I'll do an orange and pink. I'll start the thread, give it an eye length, maybe 2 eye lengths back there. These work really well. As an egg pattern. Usually take a lot of egg patterns up there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie in this this crystal flash here on the back, and just let it hang out the back. I usually wrap that back to about where the barb on the hook is, and it's kind of, because you double it up, it loops over. You just kind of cut those out there, and I usually cut them about the same place on my vise all the time. That way it kind of just makes your tail's about the same. This crystal flash, somebody asked me, why do you put that flash? I ain't never seen an egg with, tails on it and stuff. But, sometimes if you ever seen the eggs, when they're floating around in the water, they got a slime, kind of on them. So, I don't know, it just kind of looks like some slime there. But anyhow, I want to wrap back to about that same point, about that hook point. And I just took 2 of these. When you're doing 2 colors, I just took the pink and the orange and just cut, a little 3-inch piece of each, and then just tie those in, side by side. So, and then what I'll do is I'll just kind of, wrap this in a little bit and cover that up. You don't really have to cover it up. I think, it just looks nicer. But that way on the underside of it, it's kind of like all red. And then what I do is I take my thread, my bobbin here, and just give it a counterclockwise spin. And that way the thread will jump backwards whenever I go to wrap it. So I'm just going to take these 2, they're laying flat, and I'm just going to make a little loop. That's it. So you're just going to pull it up. I just use my fingers here and just kind of pull it back and make just like a little loop in the back there. And I kind of start with a real small loop, and then whenever you put your thread up, it kind of seats to the back because I put that spin in it. You might want to do that another time or 2 as you go through. Typically, as I go up through here, I'll get a little bigger on the next one, and a little bigger on the next one. I usually do about 3 or 4 of those little lock-in wraps, and then the last one, I'm going to come up here at the end. Okay, and then I just kind of twist this up at the front just to kind of get it all nice and tight. And I cut it real short. Cut it real short there. So all that'll be covered up with the thread. again. And that is it. That's a really nice little egg pattern there. Just kind of wrap that up. And I'll put about, 2 or 3 of these 5-turn whip finishes. Usually about 2 of them is sufficient. This salmon and then big lake run brown trout have some pretty nasty teeth. And so that is it. And then what I usually do is just kind of, push that down on the top. Then you can kind of see, just kind of sits in there real nice, like that. And you got 2 colors on either side. The eggs, they'll come out real dark, and then they kind of just taper down, over the next hour or so in the water. They just kind of change color, and eventually they'll just get like a pale white. Then what I like to do is take some, just some hard as nails Sally Hansen's. You can take some clear UV, or something like that. But I always like to put a little dab of this on those threads, just because you catch salmon or big brown trout or steelhead or Atlantic salmon, something like that. And I'll tell you, them teeth can really tear up them threads. And that is it. These are not weighted. Different places have different regulations on, the lead, whether you can use lead or you're not allowed to use lead. Up in New York, you're allowed, whether it's lead free or, Pennsylvania has different regulations, and you got to look where you are. But anyhow, what I do is sometimes I'll tie these with some lead under it, but most of the time I'll just tie it just like this, and then I'll just use some split shot, a foot up or something. Just depends on how deep the water is, how fast the water's running. But as far as egg patterns go, this is a really good egg pattern. The other ones I do is a little Estes egg, and I'll just kind of give you a little preview here real quick. That's what I call the Estes Plus. I got a little bead on the back of it, on a piece of mono, and that's just a little, I call the Estes Plus. You can tie just the Estes egg, and then I just add the Plus, which is just a little egg on the back. I'm going to throw a couple of these up here because I've had some guys ask about egg patterns that I use for salmon fishing. And so I'll throw some of these up. But this one, the Estes Plus, I got one that I call, Jake's Eggs Over Easy. I think there's already a pattern out there with that, title, but just something I use with those two beads on there. They're on our website at myersflies.com. Also, the Ecstasy fly yarn, that is on the website as well. You can get that for trout or salmon. And all of these will work good as an attractor pattern, for trout as well, just in your creeks and streams. I wouldn't use the big, heavy 510 steelhead hook. These things are vicious, man. I'm telling you, as far as like strength goes, they're like super, super sharp, and you are not going to bend that hook. That's an amazing, this is just a size 10. I mean, it's about the size of my fingernail, so it's not real big, but anyhow, for those egg patterns, those X510s, been using them for years. Very durable, when you're fishing, for those big fish. And sometimes, you might only get them hooked, a little bit, and you want that thing to hold up really well. So this is just one of the egg patterns that I use. And so if you don't tie them, you can look at them on myersflies.com. You can go to the website and order them there. I think like $2 or something. So check them out there, and then also follow us on Instagram and also on our Facebook page, and subscribe to that YouTube channel and like it and share it, and we'll appreciate it. We'll try to get you some more good videos. Thanks for watching.